Hey, what's up, guys? I'm your girl, Angie Smalls. You're watching Latin Affiliated TV. And today, man, we got a legend in the building. I honestly don't even know how we're going to top this episode. I'm so thankful. Be Real, he showed up. He's out here in the studio. We're out here at Street TV. And, man, thank you for stopping in today.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I know we're not too far, I think, from your studios, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's not that far. It's probably like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, you're doing that every day, right?
Yeah, we've been doing it since 2009, when we started it as the 420 show on a service called Stickam. It was a streaming service, much like Ustream, and I mean, I don't know if Ustream exists today because I don't even pay attention.
I wonder, yeah.
But there was there was like 3 or 4 different streaming services, and one of the bigger ones was Stickam. It was based out of Japan or something like that, and they offered me a platform there, so I just started, streaming from there. And at first, again, we called it the 420 show, but then a bunch of 420 shows started popping off, and I decided to flip it to the Dr. Green Thumb show because I mean that's what my other name was, my alter ego and things like that. So it seemed like it made more sense, and it's stuck since then. But we've been doing it since '09.
I know you guys. I see your show. You guys are doing it live. You just had a real live one though,
Yeah.
at a cannabis cafe,
Yeah.
in LA. How did that go? It looked fun.
Yeah, that was our second one. Our Dr. Green Thumb show live experience. We used to do them in house at my studio that we do the broadcast from now, but because of the way the studio's set up, we really can't hold events there anymore. So, fast forward a couple of years later, we, start talking to the OG Cannabis Cafe. They want to do events. They know about Be Real TV and the Dr. Green Thumb show, and they know we've streamed some events and stuff like that. So they wanted to collaborate with us on a night. And the first one went really well. So that prompted the next one. So we're going to probably do another one next month.
Oh wow!
And we're looking forward to that. I mean, I used to broadcast on 92.3 The Beat for some years with a mix show with my partner, Eric Bobo. And once we started doing that, we realized how important the platform was. So after we quit radio for some political reasons, we were looking for what the next platform was. And it was obviously, streaming to us. It wasn't so obvious in the beginning, but once I got put onto it by Maceo from De La Soul, he put me on to the live streaming and stuff. I thought, hey, we could bring a platform back. Then I hooked up with Stickam, and we've been going ever since from then. Even though Stickam doesn't exist no more, they built us our platform so that if anything had ever happened, that we'd still be able to do our own thing. And we've been doing it ever since then, nonstop. And Julio G, salute to my man Julio G, legendary and big brother of mine. He said, hey, yo, pimp, once you start this, you can't stop it.
Really?
And he was not wrong.
I think it gets addicting though.
It gets addicting, but if you build something that catches momentum, I mean, there was times where we were like getting blown out numbers, and then times where it really calmed down, and then times where it pushed up. So it's like a roller coaster ride, and you have to just sort of have the patience to ride all that out while you're building your base and building your audience and whatnot. And I feel like we've built a significant amount of base just based off of the shows and the podcast that, it did get addicting, and it got like to where I felt like it was a service we were doing for people.
Totally.
Being there, because our show is really interactive, right? The first, let's just say, hour of it is the conversation amongst us hosts, topics of the day or things we experienced, and we want to get them out, because we go through things every day and we see crazy things every day, especially living out here in LA.
That's straight up
So
true.
we want to get it out, we'll talk about it. But then the second half of the show is where the interaction starts, where, people are submitting footage of things they saw or things they did, or whether it's food they made because they like to tease us with the food. They know we're stoned as fuck, and so they want to just like send us all these beautiful photographs of these great meals that we cannot have, but it's their way of fucking with us. You know what I mean? So it's it serves as they're a part of the show too, because
Yeah.
sometimes they're in the videos or in the photos or whatever, but they're interacting. And then the last half or the last portion of the show is we don't necessarily have call-in lines, but through our super chats and through our through one of our show operators, we take questions or suggestions or
Yeah.
comments or all that stuff from the actual audience and stuff like that. So not too many shows are doing that right now. We basically stood on that because we've always, as Cypress Hill, we've always been interactive with our fans. So I figured if I was going to create this platform, I need to find a way for it to be interactive with people, and yeah, it's that part, the interaction with the fans, that gets me, because as artists, not many like interact with their fans at all. Some of them even won't even like do meet and greets or sign out autographs or take pictures, and we've never been like that. We've always embraced our
Mm-hmm.
fans, so this was just another step in that direction.
Yeah, no, I've seen some of your interviews, and you definitely say that you guys make it a point to, before your shows, not even selling merch, just having a table before your set
Yeah,
and signing to multiple hundreds or couple hundreds
yeah,
autographs. Um, but yeah, I think there's definitely a need right now for the culture to have that interactive aspect. I'm a huge advocate for live stream. If I could do live stream all the time, I would. It's just a lot of my guests don't prefer it.
yeah, yeah. Because I think with live stream, you're you can't really take back what you say. You know what I mean? When you're filming it, you can call and say, "Hey, can you edit this out or edit that out?" And when you're live, it ain't necessarily
Yeah.
like that. Once it's out there, it's out there. But with us, fortunately, when it archives, we can go back and edit. And if somebody were to ask us, "Hey, can you cut
I mean,
that
because you
part out?"
guys are smoking, right?
Yeah, but that it is what it
I
is.
saw Mellow Man Ace. He had a gas mask on. Like,
Yeah, that was awesome. Because
he didn't want to get high.
well, because he's been on the show a number of times, but on this particular show, before the masks show, I should say, before he brought the mask, he was sitting next to E Zone, and C minus was sitting across from him or somebody, and we were all smoking big ass joints, you
Damn.
know, um, like on 10 milli tips, which is a very fat joint. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And all the smoke was going his way, and he got affected. He couldn't even finish the show. He's like, "Hey, yo," he's like hand signed it to me. I gotta go. And that's my brother. So of course I'm gonna just we we made fun of it because he was totally cool with that, because it was hilarious that he had to leave
I saw
all
that
of a sudden,
episode.
because
I
he
thought it
grew
was
up
funny.
around this shit. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
He used to be a top level stoner once upon a time. So it was just funny to see him have to run out. So the very next show he comes back, sort of like to make fun of himself, and he put on the gas mask the whole show, and everybody just loved that shit. It was pretty fucking hilarious. But you know, um, as it relates to doing the show, yeah, a lot of people trust us that we're not gonna, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
bring up any controversial shit and try to get follows and likes through that shit.
Yeah.
Because I don't do that. That's the one thing I won't do. Like, people will have people on and they might have some controversial shit popping off,
I mean, I
and
brought Freeway Ricky on there, and
yeah,
like we know Freeway Ricky, like he trusts you.
yeah,
He's been on there.
because I'm not gonna put anybody in a position like that. I'm an artist myself, and I know when I've gone to certain interviews and that they asked me some inappropriate shit, I know the way that I felt, and I don't ever want another artist to feel that way when they're coming on my shit. So whatever controversy that they might be going through, we don't even touch on it. We
Mm-hmm.
touch on lighter shit. And sure, I might not get all the views that I could get
Mm-hmm.
if I were to press down on the controversy button on some of the people that we have that had open shit happening. And and sometimes people will hit me up like, oh, why didn't you hit them with this and that? It's
Mm-hmm.
because that's not my style, man. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to. I mean, I already got my fame from music and my success in that shit. This I do for fun,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not trying to troll anyone for numbers or ratings or the bag, because I get my bag. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
it's so to put someone in a seat and make them feel uncomfortable just to get more views or whatever or
Yeah.
more reaction, that just ain't me. So I try to make it light and fun so that they'll want to come back.
That's our angle right here too, but I have been getting pressed as well when I have people on and
How come you didn't ask them this?
yeah.
Right? Yeah. People don't necessarily understand that these days because they're so programmed to want the drama, to
Mhm.
want the trollism, to be ridiculous. You know what I mean? That's why people fuck with it, and I think um it's tough when you do what we do, as in this broadcast shit, when you have all that going on and you have people like doing crazy numbers because they are exploiting that shit. But later on, they're gonna have to deal with themselves later, and what it took for them to get whatever success or popularity or fame that they got. I could live with mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, yeah, you won't see me bringing someone on for the sake of like capitalizing or exploiting some
For
bad shit they're
sure.
going through, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna exacerbate it by asking some fucked up questions.
Yeah.
So and when critics come at me for that shit, I'm just like, well, fuck y'all. Why
Hell
don't
yeah.
you do it then?
Exactly. It's not easy to go on camera and to put out your shit and have people, say what they would have did. It's like you ain't doing it.
You ain't doing it. I don't care what
When
you
you
would
do
have did.
it,
I don't give a goddamn what you would have did.
yeah.
Go do it.
Exactly.
You know what I
Go
mean?
do it.
It's like, we're living in a time where everybody's a critic and everybody wants to scrutinize everybody and put them on the grill for whatever. Even if you had great intentions, that
Yeah.
people are trying to fucking grill you for everything. So I don't even pay attention to that. I mean, that's some shit that we've been doing since we first came out. As Cypress Hill, we got so much criticism coming out at first. Some people loved us, others hated us. And
Where was the controversy at? I mean, I can assume like it was the marijuana angle.
the marijuana and some of the aggressive nature of the content, like how I could just kill a man and things like that, and pigs and songs like that. Like we got a lot of scrutiny over that shit, and there was critics trying to compare me to my sound to the Beastie Boys, and
What about NWA?
no, they never really compared us to NWA because our sound was completely different.
But what about the pigs part?
Well, that for sure, but again, the way we looked at it was we were very punk rock in the sense that we didn't give a fuck what anybody thought about us, thought about our music, whether they loved it or hated it. If you loved it, awesome. If you hated it, fuck you, listen to something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit just carried over. That mentality carried over from then to now. Like we really don't give a goddamn, if you fuck with us or not. If you do, amazing. If you don't, yeah,
Kick rocks.
to each his and hers. Go listen to something else. It's all good. Um, and that's the mentality we carry with everything we do. If you don't like what we do, hey, there's other options out there for you to go fuck with. But people feel the need to dog you when they're not fucking with you. Like they could just go and say,
Be like,
well, you know what, I ain't fucking with this, I'm
yeah.
gonna go over there. But they feel the need to tell you, I don't fuck with you whack ass motherfuckers, or whatever they're gonna say, you know what I mean, just so they could get a reaction out of you. And then they get their little 10-15 minutes of fame within that little trollism
For
action
sure.
right there. So, before when people used to hit me on IG, I would go at them because I'm like, I
Really?
love the confrontation sometimes, like sometimes I'm with that shit, because I
Because
got,
you're really with it
yeah,
too.
I got something for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I stopped because I would get reported for defending myself. You know what I'm saying? Like someone would say some fucked up shit to me and I'd say some shit back. Boom. I got a flag on my fucking account. They didn't flag the other account, but they flagged mine. So I just stopped giving them anything, and just ignoring them and
Yeah.
like, you're that criticism doesn't mean shit to me anyway. Like for me, it was just about the fun of going the back and forth, like it was like a rap battle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like with the internet now there's four sides to a story.
Oh yeah,
It used to be three,
yeah,
but now the internet is the fourth.
yeah. It's probably
And
6.
I know, and you can't even believe what you see or hear anymore.
Yeah, more people want to see the truth than hear about it. They don't want it's like lack of faith in things.
Yeah.
People lack faith in shit. So if they can't see it, they don't fucking believe it. But others will totally believe some bullshit, even though they've never seen it. And there's no proof of it. They'll fucking ride for it heavy, like they know for a fact. It's the craziest thing times we live in right now in terms of information being put out there, true, false, and how people receive it. It's crazy.
I know. It's hella crazy. That's why, I'm happy that you came today, but you've been through some things in your life, man. Like I know people probably are familiar with your background, and I think that you're still making moves to this day. I saw you on Big Boy Radio, and they were celebrating the 50th year of hip hop. You just celebrated the 30th year of
Black Sunday, yeah.
yeah. So you've been in hip hop more than half
Yeah. Um,
of
yeah,
the time, the
we
lifespan.
we've been dedicated to hip hop since we heard it the first time on KDAY, a radio station. It was an AM station here in Los Angeles, 1580 KDAY. Um, the Mix Master Show. Tony G was the head mix master. Salute to the ultimate um, pioneer and legend here in Los Angeles, who put us on to a lot of those East Coast records that influenced us to do the art form ourselves. Um, yeah, I mean we've been listening to it since probably the mid '80s. No, about 82, 80, 83 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And being fans of it first, and then coming in as b-boys and poppers and graffiti artists, and then converting into DJs and into MCs, and eventually it becoming what we do for a living. Yeah, we've been representing it for a long time. It's been a part of our lives for most of our lives,
Right.
if you think about it. And there's great things about it, and there's not so great things about it, but that it's been that way since day one. So
Yeah.
it's very much like life. It's yin and yang, positive and negative energy. Sometimes there's more positive energy, sometimes there's more negative energy, and it's about figuring out the balance of that shit.
Yeah, your song Rockstar really resonates with me. I mean, not with me in particular, but I feel like it's such a message to people that if you're not in the industry, like you really don't.
It's hard to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people get an outside perception. I remember for a long time the perception was once you got a record deal, you were rich and famous, and people don't really realize that you get the record deal, but it's a road to being successful and then eventually rich and famous. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. So for some it does, but the overnight story for those that have it, it's a small percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly everybody has to like work up to that, and they call it paying dues, but it's basically getting all the experience and making sure that you're still in a good place mentally and physically and in
That's
your heart.
important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because realistically, yeah, you deal with a lot of things,
Mind
mind fucks for
for
sure.
sure. Yeah.
If you're trying to find yourself as an artist, it's the biggest mind fuck because you see all these directions everybody else is going in, and sometimes the easiest direction is to follow someone else's, and then you become a replica of that as opposed to like trying to find and make your own way, which is harder to do, but it's more satisfying in the end, and it's more sustainable because in the end people will say, I love that artist because they were themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't like anyone else. Whereas the artist that sort of takes the easy path and just, follows the template
Copy
of
and
this
paste.
one, they may last for a while, but the knock is, oh well, that artist always to me sounded like so and so, which happens to be their fucking influence. You know what I mean? Those are the things. And then you have also the record companies trying to like either mold you or make you take a direction, and that's the biggest mind. When they're like trying to like trying to peel it out of you, like okay, what direction, what kind of artist are you, where are you going to go, what are you going to represent, who are you? And if you don't know that, that is like the biggest stress ever. If you know that, it's not so bad, but if you're trying to find it, it can get ugly for you in your head. And then eventually, if you don't have a direction, the record companies mold you in the direction they think you can go in, and they could market you in, and you may not like it. It may not be some shit you agree with, like, I can't fuck with this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Rihanna, for example, right? And this is not saying she loves it or hates it. I think she loves it. But when she first came out, they had her like, the way they had Mariah Carey at first, girl next door type of island
Yeah.
vibes, and, real light. Jay-Z saw something else and said, no, 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 no. We got to flip her to like a vixen, a sexy vixen, you know, like that type of deal. And she flipped it, and it worked for her because the direction previously, she was good, and she was, good looking chick, and her music was cool, but it wasn't necessarily the lane that she was going to flourish in,
Yeah.
right?
Palm
So
to Replay. I think that was the first single.
yeah,
That's when she had the good girl image.
yeah, and then it flipped, and then look what it's turned to. But that's because Jay-Z sort of saw the direction that he could take her in, and she could flourish in. Now, some artists in that beginning state might say, "Nah, I like this direction that I'm in. I don't mind being this. I don't want to be this over here." Right? And some that don't know will say, "Yeah, you know what? I'll go with it," and then end up hating it later. It doesn't seem like Rihanna hated. Looks like she's taking full advantage. That's one situation that worked. But
Yeah.
some artists have a situation that work like that, and they fucking completely hate it because it's not who they want to be.
I mean, who comes to mind is like Pink. I think Pink was vocal.
Yeah,
I remember she would make songs about, not being like Christina Aguilera. I mean, I'm aging myself right now, guys. If you guys don't know who Pink is,
yeah,
but that's an example that comes to mind.
yeah. I mean, that's been the struggle for artists since day one. I would imagine there's a lot of hip hop groups that are out there that went through that same shit, that didn't have an idea of, they were just making music, but they didn't figure out like what type of direction are we going in, who are we.
Right.
We're just making songs, and that's the part you got to have down, all those things, because there's no school for it. They don't teach you that shit, but they're going to ask you those questions. So when you go do an interview, for instance, so what does your song mean?
And they're
What
like,
does it
well, I
mean
didn't
to you?
write it. I didn't produce it.
Yeah, well, I don't.
It's not even about my life.
Yeah, with hip hop artists, it's different because most hip hop artists are hands on unless you got a ghostwriter, and they're not educated in the ways that R&B singers used to be groomed to, like when you conduct an interview, the way you carry yourself, the way you walk in a room, accountability, responsibility, all that. No, they
But
thought
that might
rappers.
be the appeal of the rap stars.
Well, they thought the rappers were going to come and go, so we're not going to groom them for shit. We're not
Mm.
going to teach them nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To let them learn on their own, and
Yeah.
we had to. There again, you you get a record deal, and let's just say you get a hit. Boom, the cameras and people are in front of you, and they're asking you shit that you never thought you had to answer. What does my song mean? I never thought about it. I just wrote it. And that's the thing, you have to learn these type of things as you go along. What's the meaning of your album? What's the concept? And all these fucking questions that you as a young artist, at least in hip hop, you didn't even think about. I just thought about making dope songs and hopefully people like them and I'll get to perform.
Right.
All the extra shit didn't think about. And most young artists, at least back in that time, were like that. I think they're more educated now, being that you have technology in a place that is like there is nothing that you can't find out. So like you could, look at go on a search engine, who's the most unsuccessful rapper ever.
Oh my
And you
God.
could find that motherfucker and say, okay, all the don't do's, right?
That's great advice.
And you could say, okay, well, let me type in who's the most successful rapper ever and look at all the shit that they've done and be like, I need to be doing all the shit that this guy did. What was it that led him up this or her up this fucking path right here? And it's as simple as that, where we didn't have that shit before.
Hell
We're
no.
all learning hands on.
Yeah. Speaking of not having them before, this is a printed issue of our first interview I did with Be Real
Yeah.
when he had a studio in Chatsworth.
Yep.
And
Actually, it's when
you
right
know,
when I
you know.
started, doing the live streams in that studio.
oh shit. The,
I'm not sure the
I think
interview.
we interviewed you probably it had to have been like in '07.
Yeah, then this was just before I started doing the streams, like 2 years before. But it was out of that studio, and it was crazy. Trying to get anybody to come out there was nuts because Chatsworth was way off the grid
Yeah.
for many people.
It was for
And
me.
yeah, I mean, I was fortunate because I lived in Northridge at the time. I still do, and it was like a 5-minute drive for me. But like everybody else that was coming from any part of LA, they fucking hated coming to see me out there. Um, while they were there, they had a good time, but like having to wait on traffic and then having to get all the way up there. That's why I eventually moved my all my operation downtown because it was more central and everything. But yeah, we had good times in that studio. I was there with the drummer from this group called Fear Factory at first, Raymond Herrera, and we were partners in that studio. So I did a lot of my mixtapes there. I did my solo album there, and the Cypress Hill Rise Up album in that studio.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember all I wanted to do was smoke with you that day. And he smoked with me. I was
right.
like, hell yeah. I was like, will you smoke with me? But that was an amazing. If you guys want to see the interview, become a member on my YouTube channel and I'll post our first interview there.
Boom.
You know? But I do like the quote that always resonated with me that he did tell me. It says, I'll read it to you guys. It says, your reputation is like poker chips. When you lose it, you're always trying to win it back, and you never really do.
Yeah, you got to be lucky to win them back. You have to have redeemed yourself in a certain way that like people are like, all right, I bet we'll have to give them a pass on that. But like, yeah, once you lose them, it's hard to get them back, depending how you lost it. Depending on what you did to cause your reputation to be tainted. These days, though, it's crazy because people are more forgiving of like fuck
Man, they
shit.
have short memories.
Oh my God, it's like, you could get
It's that
canceled.
news cycle.
You could get canceled in a minute, and the fucking next year you're back in the game, reset.
I mean, I don't believe in people getting canceled.
Yeah, that shit is stupid. I mean, there are some stupid people that out there that don't need to be publicly speaking, but I mean, it's a free fucking world out
For
here.
Free speech.
Unfortunately, in that respect, because of our freedom of speech, we got to deal with some crackhead saying some dumb shit, you know. But again, you know, I'd rather be in a place that you could speak your mind than some place they'll chop your fucking head off for
Hell yeah.
saying something that they consider subversive. But yeah, it's a crazy time, you know. But yeah, I mean, when we were first coming up, and even before us, respect was everything. You know what I mean? And if someone did something disrespectful or to something to lose respect from others, yeah, it was an uphill climb trying to get it back. Um, and it's still that way with some people, but you know, it just seems some are more forgiving towards shit these days,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool, you know. In some regards, I think if you did something really heinously fucked up,
Right, like Selena's killer.
yeah, I mean, come on,
Yeah.
that's tough.
She needs to go already.
Yeah, I mean, they're letting her ass out too, pretty soon, I think.
That's insane. Why would they
That's
do
crazy.
that, man?
Yeah,
That's so wrong. She should be locked up for life.
pretty much.
Her and Michael Jackson's killer, they let him out too.
Yeah, Dr. Propofol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever do anything with Michael Jackson?
No, we never had a
Like in the
chance.
studio?
I mean, we were um pretty much he was on Epic Sony and we were on Columbia Sony.
Mm-hmm.
So we were sort of like label mates, but we never got to do anything with him. You know, I'd always been a big fan growing up. It would have been cool, but I don't think that you know, like they could have matched us up properly for because we were really, really like grimy, dark underground, and he was Michael fucking Jackson. You know, I think with some artists he could definitely work. Like I think the thing he did with Biggie, I think he did something with Biggie that was dope, and he could have did things like that with rappers like that. With us, yeah, it would have been a dream to work with him. But like, I don't think we could have did anything that would have actually fit. And that's that's the thing about being you know a certain type of artist there because there are hip hop artists that are pop too. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They don't necessarily get called pop, but there is a pop.
Would you consider Drake?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's to me that's rap music. It's not necessarily hip hop. It's derivative of hip hop, but it's rap music, which I consider slightly more polished. You know, more popish.
So that's the difference between hip hop and rap.
That's my difference.
Okay.
That's what I feel. You know, rap is the polished version. So, for instance, yeah, Drake is a perfect example. You know, he's more rap based, and to
And
me,
Kendrick hip hop.
and Kendrick's a little bit more hip hop.
Ooh.
And Cole is
Soundbite right there.
and Cole is a little bit more hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, even Kendrick, you know, he has success on the level of a pop artist or a hip hop artist that's on a pop level. He doesn't necessarily embody that. Drake embodies that
Mm-hmm.
more than he does, but like Kendrick's kind of both. But you know, people consider him more hip hop, obviously. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's to me that's the difference, and I like them both. You know, I don't hate on none of the new shit
Mm-hmm.
unless it's totally garbage.
Right.
Then I'll definitely voice my opinion on how garbage
I
it
see
might.
you voicing your opinion on Twitter.
Yeah, you know, every now and then. You know, what bothers me the most these days about hip hop music is the artists that are rapping purposefully offbeat. And you know, whether they're doing it on purpose or whether they just can't rap. That shit bothers the fuck out of me because I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't even make a record if the producer heard you rapping offbeat. And if the producer turned in the record to the record company, they'd be like, "Hey, are you fucking crazy? Do you not hear that he or she is not in pocket?" And those records never would have came out, but because of the independent game is blown up so much that you don't need a label to quality control. And some motherfuckers ain't even into quality control. The beat's hot, I'm gonna put it
Right.
out. I don't care if I sound like I'm offbeat, whatever. And you know, the crazy thing is that people have gravitated to some of it. Not everybody, but some people fuck with it. And I'm like, wow, this is some backwards ass shit. But it is what it is, you know. To each his and hers. If this is what you like, then that's what you like.
Hmm.
I don't have to like it, just like you don't have to like the shit I like. You know what I mean? There's room enough for everybody. It's just, will I listen to it? No.
Yeah, everything's direct to consumer now.
Yeah.
There's no more middleman.
Yeah. I mean, there is, but not like it used to be. You
Hmm.
can totally get it off on your own these days.
Hmm. Oh, so what's going on? You and Burner got some new stuff?
Yeah. We're going on our fifth album together. We worked on it a while back with Scott Storch.
Man, how's that working with Scott Storch?
It was cool. It was cool, you know, because Scott's our homie and shit, and he's one of the baddest producers in the history of hip hop. He don't get enough flowers for that. And we just thought, I mean, you know, because we're all pretty good friends, let's just knock one down. And you know, so we're looking forward to putting that out in December and
Okay.
locking in. We still got a couple little things to do to it. Um, but that one's gonna be good. I'm excited, also excited about the one I got with the album I have with Psycho Les coming out from the Beat Nuts. That one's coming out in July,
Man, yeah.
and that one is that one's like,
When's
I
the
mean,
last time? Because I've feel like he's been out. Has he been doing music
oh
regularly?
yeah, who Les
Cycle, yeah.
Psycho Les, yeah, he's been him and Juju have been doing a lot of shows as of late. Like they just went out on they were on tour at the same time we were on tour just recently, and we came back, he came back, and then he went right back to fuck out again to Europe. So Beatnuts are out there doing their thing,
Because
and
he's from New York,
he's
right?
from New York. He lives in LA now. But Les, the thing is he's been working. Like he's done tracks for Cool Keith as of late, and a few other projects. Like he's been really busy, and we worked on this project about a year or two ago, but we just took our time because we didn't want to rush the shit out. We wanted to make sure we loved it before we put it out. So, and we got some good cameos on it too. So it's going, or features as they call them
Man,
now.
when I went to your studio and he was there, I didn't put two and two together till I left, and I was like, "That was the guy from the Beatnuts."
Yeah.
And I'm a huge hip hop head. I mean, obviously, you guys should have figured that out by now, you know. And I remember the first time was listening to your songs. Let me tell you, I was in the mountains of Germany,
Oh
hitting
wow.
a deadhead, listening to hits from the bong,
Wow.
hitting water bongs, like.
Awesome.
So that's me and my friends used to get so faded, and so those are my earliest memories of rocking with you was in Germany.
Right on.
Yeah,
They love some hip hop in Germany. That is for sure.
I like Germany. It's a cool country.
Yeah, they just legalized too. So people are gonna be able to get their smoke on freely down there.
Fire. They had the best hash.
Yeah, for sure. Now they're gonna have even better hash. That's the cool shit.
Man, I tripped out because I started over there with like candy bar sizes of hash,
Yeah,
which is probably worth here in America at the
a
time, like
lot of money.
so much money, and
Yeah.
it was just given to me out there. So those were the good times, good days. And your brand, Dr. Green Thumb, how's your dispensaries going?
Good, good. We just opened one in Van Nuys not long ago. We opened up in also in Detroit. Salute to everybody over off of 8 Mile. Just had a grand opening for that one, and you know, we're looking forward to opening more shops. We wanted to lock in California first though, because it's, you know, it's our
Home
home
base.
state, home
Yeah.
base. So we wanted to plant the flag in places that we knew we'd have immediate impact.
Yeah, you blessed Fresno, man.
Yeah, salute to Fresno.
I'm sure they're like, wow.
Yeah, we just opened up Fresno right before Detroit and right before Van Nuys. So yeah, I mean, and they salute to Fresno because they showed up. Like people in Fresno definitely got love, and they came and showed it, and it was awesome to see that. And yeah, so we're just looking forward to planting the flags throughout California that we feel like would be impactful, and then eventually hit more places out of
Yeah, you're
state.
going out of state. That's interesting since
Yeah.
they all have different legalities and stuff.
Yeah, because it's not federally legal, everybody's jumping through different hoops in every state, and it makes it sort of hard to be a multi-state operator,
Mm-hmm.
because everything is different. If it was, all one thing across the board, it'd sort of be easier to get your brand off in different states and do all this stuff. But because it's like, California has
Yeah.
different regulations in Colorado has different regulations in Nevada, different regulations in Florida, Massachusetts, and the rest. Um, it makes it an expensive endeavor, right? And you got to have the backing for that, and
Man. Mm-hmm.
which we do in some cases, but like it still makes it hard because you want to represent your brand with continuity, meaning, you know, this packaging, just like a Coke. You see a Coke can, it's the same fucking Coke can in every city you go to. It might be a bigger one or it might be a smaller one, might be in a bottle, but the logo's the same. And with cannabis, they're not allowing that right now. So Florida, you can't really necessarily have your logo. It has to be like a font,
Interesting.
and these are the different things that you got to deal with when trying to open up in different states and stuff like that. But hopefully at some point they'll get all these regulations, and it'll be legal across the board, and we'll be able to put our brands and our logos, you know with continuity across the board, because it's just ridiculous that we get taxed so high. Our
It's
industry gets
crazy.
taxed so high,
Like,
yet we
yeah.
have to deal with that shit right there. So
I heard if you're not in the game, you're just not getting in at this point.
yeah, and you don't want to, because
For real.
it's too fucking expensive, and yeah, I mean, you like the old adage, you got to have money to make money, and in
Mm-hmm.
cannabis,
Scared money don't make money.
yeah, and if you're getting into cannabis, you got to have money to invest because everything is expensive,
Mm-hmm.
from the licenses to the retail to the cultivation to manufacturing to packaging to every aspect of it. If you didn't start early, you know what I mean? It's tough to get in right now. Celebrities could get in based off of their names and do collaborations and stuff like that, but coming in trying to create a new business off the ground all yourself.
I heard even celebrities are having a hard time because the dispensaries get so many free samples.
Yeah.
They don't care about who you are at this point.
No, they don't care. If you're a celebrity getting into marijuana business, you better be doing a whole lot of promotions on your product, because the retail stores ain't necessarily going to do it for you. They expect you to do it.
Yeah.
Come in and properly promote and expose your brand, so that because they don't have necessarily the marketing
Yeah, there's too many
capabilities to do that.
options.
Yeah, they have to carry a bunch of options, and realistically, unless you're paying for shelf space, the best shelf space,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have to be doing a lot of marketing, and marketing costs money. And people think marketing is just
Social
do
media posts.
social media posts,
Right.
and it's more than that.
I mean, you can't, it's even hard to brand it on.
Well, with Instagram and Facebook,
Yeah.
they make it virtually impossible for
Yeah,
a
the
cannabis
shadow
company.
banning.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all of our accounts related to our Dr. Green Thumbs um, stores are shadow banned.
I mean, it makes you think of Cannabis Talk 101, like
Yeah.
they
I mean,
have
they fuck with my account. Like, let me tell you. Um, so, about 2 years ago, my account was stuck on 1.2 million,
mm-hmm.
and I would look on every 30 days, like in that time period, every 30 days, I'd look and it would show me that I gained, let's just say, for example, 10,000 followers in 30 days. But it will show me that I lost 11,000 followers in that same 30 days. And that's just not fucking possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless you're doing some shit that's offensive and all that, right? Which we don't do.
Yeah.
I don't do, right? And they just recently started doing it to me again. And then I realized they were doing it not only to my account, they were doing it to the Cypress Hill account, which it was the worst there. They were doing it to all of the individuals in the band, doing it to my Be Real TV accounts, and as well as my Dr. Greentham accounts, because I called everybody and said, I need you to look here, and where your growth is in Instagram, the numbers for the follows to the unfollows. And each of them were the same thing, different
Yeah.
sort of numbers, because we all sort of get different engagement.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say our our um, our photographer, videographer, right? Um, when he looked at his, let's just say he had 1,000 new followers, he had 1,100 unfollowers. Let's just say Bobo, our percussion player, my co-host for the show, let's just say he had 1,200 new followers, he had 1,300 unfollows. And this is the way they've been stalling our growth. And they do
Mm-hmm.
this thing where they limit your content distribution,
Mm-hmm.
meaning you may have 1.2, 3, 4, 5 million followers, but it doesn't mean that it's going to get out to all of them. Like I will have people be like, "Hey, did you block me? Because I can't see anything you're putting out. I have to go to your page to see anything." You know what I mean? It doesn't come up on my feed automatically like it used to. Like you have a post there
Right.
that you put up 2 weeks ago. I'm barely seeing it now. And this is something that they do, and this is discrimination against cannabis. YouTube does it too.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say about Cannabis Talk 101.
Yeah.
Their views aren't as where they should be, in my opinion.
So here's the thing, right? Because what we share in common with Cannabis Talk is that we represent cannabis, but we don't talk about it all the time. Our show is not a political show in the same way that Cannabis
Yeah,
Talk
that's their
101
main
is,
topic.
right? But
Yours is a platform.
let me tell you what the commonality is, though, is if I have a piece that says, "Hey, check out my Dr. Green Thumb shop, open from such and such to such and such. Our specials are this and that." And if I give you an address, if I give you a link, if I give you a QR code, boom, double flag, meaning not meant for kids and all that stuff, but a +1, meaning you got to be 18 years of age now to be able to view that content. And you have to be signed in to your account. You can't be like guest watching that particular show after the fact where it's got what is it called? It's like a limited strike with a plus. I can't remember what they call it. Age restricted. There's two different age restrictions, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's the one where they just give you a yellow flag and you're still monetized and people of whatever age can watch your shit without having to sign in. But when they age restrict it with the plus, that means a lot of your monetization is gone. Like I would say more than half of your monetization is gone for that. And then they limit the distribution of your content. You could have 1 million followers, but they're only going to allow like 0.3 to see it. They have to find it. They have to make their way to it. So like when you have shit going on like that, let's just say because YouTube has the notification bell. Let's just say you're on to our account.
Mm-hmm.
You got the notification bell clicked on so that whenever we go on, presumably it's supposed to give you an alert. Half the time our alerts don't go out because of our relationship with cannabis. So there's a lot of cannabis discrimination happening on a lot of these platforms.
Potential to sue, maybe lawsuits.
Well, if anyone was going to sue, it would have to be a group lawsuit. If you were going up against these monsters by yourself,
Yeah.
they got too much money and they'll just flush your ass down the toilet.
For
And you
real.
won't be on any platform at that point.
God.
It would take like a group of, it would take like the industry, actually, people in the cannabis industry and influencers that work in the cannabis industry to say, let's do a group.
I know
suit.
Burner's very vocal.
Yeah. Well, he gets shadow banned all the fuck.
Yeah.
Him and I get
And Baby Bash.
yeah, we all get fucked with because we represent cannabis. And like there was a time where I just took all the cannabis off of my fucking IG account, and I noticed that when I did that, they started letting my account grow again, and they started letting the distribution of my content get out there to more of my base again. The minute I started like you know, sharing stories about my shop opening in Detroit and Fresno and uh, an anniversary of one of the other shops. And, if I share any cannabis shit out, boom, within a month, they got me back on that program where now I'm like 10,000 new followers, 11,000 unfollowers. And that's just fucking impossible.
Yeah.
And this is their game. They do this on Facebook. They do this on IG. They do it on YouTube. I don't necessarily know if they do it on X or Threads or anything.
Supposedly Elon Musk is like free for
You
all.
don't give a.
I mean,
Yeah, they got straight up porn.
and
Yeah,
he smoked weed on Joe Rogan's show.
yeah. I mean, his shit is it's crazy, but it's probably the most free where you could.
And then his stocks dropped. Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
As soon as he smoked weed on
yeah,
Joe Rogan.
which is ridiculous. But hey, that's just their way of punishing him because he's a cannabis advocate, and there's a lot of corporations that don't want cannabis legal till they can stick their fucking hands in it, and when they can, you'll be seeing them like reversing their fucking their positions and like running that flagpole up for cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, they got to be in opposition and make sure, they keep people with the biggest voices to it sort of muted.
Yes. Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad that you have your own platform, even though it's streaming on these other.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I stream it off of my own site as well, on www.bereal.tv. So, like, if anything ever happened,
Okay,
could
that's
still-
great to know.
we'd
Okay.
still be, rocking without all these other platforms. We utilize the other platforms because we know that we have fans there.
Yeah.
And in spite of some of the shit we go through, they still show up and they still represent.
Mhm.
So we don't necessarily want to punish them because we're being punished by the fucking platform, So it's just ridiculous, Instagram. Ridiculous.
Yeah, man. Biden is already saying he's going to make it federally legal. I think he's saying that to get votes, but
Yeah, he is. And they will say anything at this point. Both those old fuckers, you know what I'm saying? They say anything they can to get the job of jobs, which, it fucking, like, it blows my mind that, like, in a normal corporation, right, they're usually retiring their board members and CEOs at 65.
ooh, that's a
When
good
you
point.
think about that, these two guys that are running for the office, they're, the CEOs of America, right? They're running the
Yeah.
business of America. Why are we having dudes above 65 running the country like that?
Yeah.
Like, these dudes are fucking
Mm-hmm.
great grandfathers by now. You
I
know what I'm
know.
saying? And when you think about that, they're usually pushing CEOs into retirement at 65, yet will allow someone to run our country at 70 something and 80 is ridiculous.
Yeah, this is an election year.
They're both too old, y'all.
For
Straight
real.
up.
Yeah, too bad we don't have any other.
Yeah, we got options. That is the truth of it.
Yeah, I didn't vote last election because of the options.
I don't, what's crazy is I think there's going to be a big drop off this year because people don't want neither of these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's crazy. So do you and Burner like give each other advice since you guys are kind of like, doing the dispensary thing?
Yeah.
You guys deal with the same kind of issues and stuff.
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
that somebody you lean on, or?
Yeah, we both will call each other when we're, dealing with some shit. It's like, he'll call me and I'll call him, and or sometimes we're commiserating on how up the game is. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Bird, did you see this shit today? He's like, yeah, this shit is fucked up because it is. It's great that it's legal, but there's a lot of shit you have to deal with it. And,
Yeah.
so those of us that know each other and confide in each other and have confidence in each other, we'll talk to each other about shit. Like I was just talking to Redman the other day about, you know, because he came in, but like he didn't put both feet into the cannabis industry because he sort of wanted to learn first, and he had all these ideas from people like, hey man, we'll pop this brand off for you, we'll do this, that, and the other. And
People pitching him.
yeah, and he got pitched, by every fucking body, you know what I mean? And he didn't go all the way in because he wanted to learn about it first. And
You think that was smart
yeah, I
to
believe.
observe?
Yeah, for sure, because his brand would be untainted by anything, because he never really put anything out and it didn't fail. Like, some celebrities put shit out and failed horribly, and some of them were connected to the cannabis industry. Some people put out shit and it failed, and they had to put out something after that, and they kept trying again and again until they finally got it right. Um, and these are the bumps and bruises that you go through.
Mm-hmm.
And Red didn't want to have to go through that. He wanted to come in fully educated and understanding and with an intention of what he wants his brand to be.
Okay.
And so, we had a pretty deep conversation on that. And, I feel honored that some of these guys look to call me for some of this advice and shit like that. Because, I mean, hey, look, we've been in it, for a very long time, even before it was legal. But we've had our bumps in the roads. We've had our bumps and bruises, and we still go through them. No operation, no business is operating perfectly, and sort of making all this crazy ass money from cannabis right now. Everybody's going through the crunch. At some point, yes, it's going to be lucrative for the people involved, but right now it's tough, and I feel like they make it that way on purpose so that like the people that have the hedge funds and all the people that have the financial backing that could come and do different things, mostly like pharmaceutical companies and
Exactly.
alcohol and tobacco companies. When they come in, it's going to be a different fucking world. So they're
Yeah.
they're trying to make it difficult for some of us to survive in it, so that these fucking guys can come in and take it over. And
Yeah, they want to do a buyout at some point.
yeah, and those of us that survive will still be able to operate and
Mm-hmm.
flourish, but it's about the survival up until that point.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
there's been brands that have come and gone. There's brands that are like hanging on a thread, and then there's brands that are doing decent enough to live and survive and keep growing in spite of some of the shit we got to deal with.
I know Freeway Ricky wanted your brand in his dispensary. Did you guys talk about that? Any
We
point?
haven't yet, but we're gonna, definitely try to get it up in there.
Okay.
We'd love to have our
He
shit.
keeps
Up.
asking me. Shout out Freeway Ricky.
Salute, legend.
So I hope you guys can make that happen. That
Yeah,
would
we're
be
gonna definitely.
fire.
Yes.
Yes. What's your hottest product that you sell from your brand?
It's always been the Insane OG. People go crazy for that because they know like the one thing that I mean, it's what we started with is the OG. Everybody was doing their version of OG, but we were known for doing it, one of the best. So that had always been our top seller, but we started getting into doing exotics and different, hybrids and whatnot. So, the one that people talk about mostly now is like the Hindu funk.
Mm.
That's aside from the Insane OG, it's the Hindu funk that people, have been talking about for a long time. But right now we just released a strain, a limited amount of that particular strain, but we're going to be ramping up on it soon. Was the lithium. We released that in Fresno, and it blew
They
their
got it first?
yeah, they got it first. Blew their fucking mind too. 'Cause
I bet.
it's one of the most gassy strains that we've produced, and it tastes good, and the impact is crazy. So That's one people been asking about.
Is that the stuff that you guys smoke in your car in the hot box?
Sometimes, yeah.
Man, is okay. So do you prepare your guests? Like, do you choose that? You're like, all right, we're hitting this strain.
Well, the strains that we use in the box are random. Sometimes we'll use hard hitting strains. Sometimes they're in the middle. We'll never use anything weak. I mean, because we're smoking to get to a level. So, um, but yeah, I mean, sometimes we'll put in some of those special strains and talk about them to people, or just at least reference them. Like, hey, we're smoking such and such today, and people know where they could find it. I mean, the people watching us know that there's the Dr. Green Thumb dispensaries and stuff like that. So we just got to reference it, and then they'll go ask about it.
Man, that's
Hey,
amazing.
we heard them talk
Branding right
about
there.
this. Yeah, we heard them talking about this on the smoke box. Do you got it? And usually that's how we build it. And yeah, but yeah, the strains are pretty random in the box.
I saw the interview you did with Sikan.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know about him. I wish more people knew about him.
It's crazy because he is so fucking dope.
To me, I think he's Tupac of Mexico.
Yeah, he's really dope. He don't get enough flowers. Um, but I think at some point, you know,
I've been trying to help him cross over.
Yeah,
I talk to his manager Joe all the
I
time.
think with the right collaborations, he'll definitely become a bigger name because he got the skills.
'Cause you did a track with him, right?
Yeah. I think it was for his thing. When you think about like some of the other guys that are out there right now, Santa Fe Clan and Aleman and the guys like that, he snaps in right with those guys. You know what I mean?
To me, I think he blows them. Like he's like definitely top.
Yeah, he's a slightly different style than they are, but yeah, I mean he deserves a lot more recognition.
I was like so shocked when I saw you guys in the smoke box.
Yeah.
I thought
He's a cool dude.
that was a really good episode. You guys got to do that again because I know that was a few years back.
Yeah.
Who you got coming up on the smoke box?
We filmed the first half before I went on tour with
Oh, okay. So you get them in the
yeah, like what we traditionally do is film 12 for the year, right? And
okay.
put out the first 6, then take a break for about a month or two, let the first 6 breathe, and then put out the next 6. But we were only able to film 6 before I left the tour. So most likely I'm going to get the next 6, and the second half of them will come out possibly in July. But yeah, I remember a time when we were doing them all year round. It was like whenever we could get them, we would do them, and it just became a lot. I mean, it was a lot.
You have to be brave.
Oh yeah,
to do that.
Getting in that box is tough
with a heavy hitter like you, man.
Well, because we also put 3 other people in the car to smoke, and everybody's smoking their own shit.
Yeah, I saw you in Coyote.
Yeah, so it gets pretty crazy, Salute to the people that are brave enough to get
For
it.
real.
Yeah.
Smoking a blunt would be real. Hot box, that's like another level right there.
Yeah, I mean, we try to make it easy for people, but that one just isn't. It's hard to make it easy for people with that particular interview, because once it really gets smoky, you got to stay calm.
Oh my God.
You got to breathe, not move around too much. You know what I mean? Just very relaxed, and you survive. But if you start breathing heavy and fucking moving around crazy, yeah.
Some tips.
Yeah.
Some tips would be real. How did your tour go?
It was awesome. Salute to Farside and Souls of Mischief. They killed it. Every show was pretty much sold out. An early crowd, meaning they packed the building before Souls of Mischief went on most nights, because nobody wanted to miss any of the groups, which is dope.
Wow.
Because sometimes you go on these tours and you have like 3 awesome groups, and one always gets fucked because they're going on early and not everybody's in the building and all that shit. And we didn't want that to happen, because I mean, everybody deserved to on that particular tour to be in front of a packed house. everybody had deserved that sort of respect, right? And fortunately, the fans initiated, ignited, and it made for a great tour because every night, it was a packed house and everybody's audience was significant.
Yeah, and you guys have been doing like the orchestra thing.
Yeah, yeah, we've done four of them. We're about to do the fifth one in Nashville. Then eventually going off to London to do with the London Symphony, which is where all this started.
Wow.
And I think we have another one either before or after that. But yeah, people once we announced it, they got interested in it, and then once they heard about the first two and how well they went, they were like, "Well, shit, we might be interested in that." So it was just a different lane we created for ourselves, and
Man, you're making so many lanes.
and we're gonna try to do more of it because I mean it was fun to do that. I mean we've been
It looked
doing
epic.
yeah, it was awesome. Doing traditional hip hop, we've been doing it for 32 years, and then doing the hybrid sound with rock and hip hop, we've been doing that for a number of years, and all the experimentation with EDM and then some reggae and
Mm-hmm.
we've always been able to challenge ourselves and do different things. So this is the most different challenge for us in terms of music, and we love it. It's fun. It's a different vibe, but it's a different way to listen to Cypress Hill music. And yeah, we look forward to the next two we got coming up.
Man, you've gone through so many things in your life. Your career just keeps evolving, and you've always been such a, really great. I don't even know what the word is, but it's been amazing. The music, the sound that you bring, the different sounds that you're doing, and you know, I feel like you're just still not. You're still halfway.
Yeah, that's how we feel. Like we feel like we've done a lot, but we still got more to give and more creativity to push out there. Because look, hip hop is very ageist, right? Um, Meaning like when you hit 30, they try to push you out of the game, but a lot of it's been proven in the last several years that a lot of us that are in our 50s doing hip hop, we still got it.
We're
You know what I
still
mean?
spinning that,
And
man.
the proof is in the pudding in terms of when you come to the shows and you see a packed house of people there representing you know groups like ours, and with our new music and with our music before the you know what we started with and all that stuff. They're still there. They're still supporting it. They're still activating with it. And so we have to remove this ageist fucking sort of label or whatever that they put on hip hop, that you can only be young to do it. I mean, every other genre, the fans stick with the group no matter how old they get within that genre.
That's a good point.
And ours is the only one where the media and the labels try to push you out because they don't know how to necessarily sell records to the older crowd that relates to hip hop. They don't realize that some of us that were kids in hip hop have grown up and we're in our 50s. In some cases there are people in their 60s and close to 70s that love hip hop, that still buy hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
but no one markets it to them because the labels have put this label on hip hop that it's a young person's music, and it's not. It's everyone's music. Music is meant to
Mm-hmm.
be received by whoever it connects with, no matter what age you are. You know what I mean? So that ageist bullshit, we're about to step on that, flush it down the toilet, and take that whole stereotype out of hip hop, out of rap music, because some of us that have been doing this over 30 years, we still sell out shows. Well, some of the young bucks where they're not selling out their shows. Some
No.
of them are canceling. And this goes to show you, you can't count us out just because we're older. If we still love to do it and we still do it well, there's no reason that we should be like left behind, or not marketed and promoted like some of these youngsters are. So flush that ageist shit
Man,
down the
and
toilet.
do yourself a favor, go on Spotify, hit Be Real, and just start playing it. And there's not even a skippable song. Or go to
Well,
YouTube.
thank you.
YouTube Music. I did that this weekend, and it was just going. And all the different artists that you've had. I mean, Wiz Khalifa, Burner, and Baby Bash, and just so many different collabs that you do, and all the different sounds. Slightly Stupid, like you were saying, the reggae stuff.
Yeah.
So I was totally vibing out. So Be Real is a total vibe,
Thank you.
and but I've always been a fan. I've been a fan for years, and I'm still gonna be a fan. I'm obviously a hip hop head, but I think that you are just one of the icons for hip hop.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And salute to everybody that's held us up. Not held us down, but held us up for all these years. Um, it's a tough road doing music, because it's like gambling. Sometimes you put something out and your heart's into it and you hope you're gonna win, and it doesn't win. And sometimes when you're like backs against the wall, you pull off a win, and it's that roller coaster ride that you got to be willing to deal with. You got to love the shit, and we love it so much. I mean, we don't make records anymore to sell a million records, because we know in this day and age that's tough. For a new artist and for a veteran artist, that's fucking tough. We do it for the love of the art. If it sells, awesome. If it does okay, awesome. If it doesn't, hey, back to the fucking drawing board, and we crack something else off. There's so many veteran artists now that won't put out a record because they're afraid it ruins their track record. You know what I mean? Like if I sold 5 million on my last record, I don't want to put out an album right now and
You're
only
like a boxer. Like
Yeah.
they don't want to be 3-1 or something.
yeah, I don't want to affect my record. So there's plenty of artists out there that are like, people are waiting on albums from them or hoping that they'll put one out. But because of the state of, the industry and lack of album sales and more streams, no one wants to fuck up their track record. So, let me just be safe. I'll put out a song, or I'll do a feature, but I'm not gonna fuck up my shit by putting out an album and it only selling a million when I just sold 5 million, or it only selling 500,000 when I just sold a million, or it only sells 100,000 when I did 500,000. Like if you shouldn't even fuck around anymore if you're gonna think about that. If you're that insecure about your art, to me, it's, if you love it, do it. And if it gets the praise and adulation and the record sales, great. I mean, if you don't and you're just sitting on your art, I feel bad for you.
Hey man, that's some great advice coming from an icon. So I think if you're an artist, you really need to take that advice and run with it. Okay, guys? Don't be scared. Be an artist. Stay true to you.
Yeah. I mean, you got to let your shit breathe, though. Like, don't go crazy and put out
Oh yeah, work on your craft
albums
though, for
every
sure.
week.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Have you noticed songs are getting shorter now? They're like 2-minute songs that everyone's dropping. Can you speak on that real quick?
Well, traditionally in the music industry from way back, I mean, since before hip hop was even created, most albums or songs, singles, the record companies wanted them at maybe 2.5 to 3 minutes tops. In the 70s and 80s, people started doing longer songs, and radio doesn't like long songs; they like short shit. So, I think people have gotten back to that, quick, catchy template rather than to make long, intricate songs and stuff like that. Because, usually the longer song doesn't get the radio play unless it's on a mix show or something like that. In terms of hip hop, there's been some songs that were very long that were hits and stuff like that, but that's few and far between. So, with record companies, they normally drove it into your head that you needed a song in between 2.5 3 minutes. And so I think just some artists have gotten back to that format. You know, it's shit with Cypress Hill and some of the projects that I've done outside of Cypress, we've done that, where there'll be a song that's like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then there'll be a 3 to 4 minute song, and just sort of mix it up. You know, but yeah, that's a record company standard for the longest time because they feel like they can sell shorter songs to the radio.
Man, I feel like we could just keep talking. There's so much that Be Real, so much knowledge you have, life experience. And I'm sure if you haven't seen his interview with Vlad, you'll see all, his upbringing and the crazy start that you dealt with as far as your family and what you've survived, but we're thankful that you made time today to join us.
Well, thank you for having me, and we'll have to do a part two
Oh,
at some time.
hey, I'm there, man. Let me know when.
Right on.
I'll go with you right now to Be Real TV.
That's what's up.
Do you like cocoa water?
Yeah,
Coconut
cocoa
water?
water's good. It's good for you.
Go ahead and taste that.
I
This
will.
is from our sponsors, Coco Love, the only Latino-owned coconut water brand. And if you don't like coconut water,
Oh, that's good.
right,
Yeah.
like it's pretty good. So it's not an acquired taste. Go ahead and use our promo code. You get 15% off today, guys. But we're here with the legend. I don't know how we're going to top this interview, B-Roll, honestly.
You will. It'll be good.
I don't know. But I appreciate you, man. And
Thank you.
much love to you. And, keep listening to your music. Keep watching your shows.
Right on.
Monday to Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. You're streaming live.
That's right. Dr. Green Thumb Show. Make sure you check it out. And we got new music coming as well. Psycho Less and myself. In July, Serial Killers with Demrick and Exhibit in October, and Burner and myself in December. I got a lot of shit.
Oh, man. I know. I want to do part 2 already.
Yeah, we will once we drop the
All right.
the Psycho Less and Be. It's called Real Psycho, just for everybody to know. Be Real and Psycho Less. Real Psycho.
Fire.
And when we drop that, I will come back.
Oh, fire. Thank you. All right, guys. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe, and appreciate everyone that's watching.